We have a winner in the race to
the
file
courthouse.
divorce docs.
The race to the courthouse.
Yes. Liam Hemsworth, you are the winner. Well, this sounds weird to say when they're getting divorced, but yes, this is what happens when celebs get divorced. Unless they've agreed upon it ahead of time.
It has no legal significance who files
Zero.
first. Zero
But
legal
it has
significance.
a lot to
but
do.
there's a perception issue.
Sure.
And look, I'm not even describing that necessarily to him, but I'm told it's kind of an issue. So he filed for divorce, citing the obvious irreconcilable differences, which everybody cites. It's just standard. But the big thing is this. That, look, we found out they have a prenup. And going into the marriage, they kept their separate property, obviously. But what they made during the marriage, what's his is his, what's hers is hers. No kids, so it's easy breezy. That said, the big thing is the data separation. The data separation is important because we know, and we've talked about this before, that Liam has suggested that maybe Miley had hooked up with Caitlyn, who she's clearly with now, before they separated. She, we're told, is saying absolutely not. We separated in June, months before. You saw him without his wedding ring on in June. So,
if there is a discrepancy then, because won't both sides eventually have to put this out, how do they decide on that? Do they then have to pull evidence and say, hey, here's what happened, here's when it happened, or how does that work?
It's not really that relevant because it's normally relevant when it comes to property division. But here, the property is separate from the get-go. So the only things that's relevant is the optics of it. But what's interesting about Liam is he didn't put a date. He just put TBD, which is to be determined.
Which means eventually they're going, whatever date ends up coming out in the legal documents.
Or they may never come out with a date. It may, what we need to see is Miley hasn't filed a response yet, so she could either do TBD, as he did, or she could give a date.
And then the debate begins.
And then the debate begins, but ultimately the debate's irrelevant to the case because there's no property to be divided. So there you go. So did you learn a lot or what?
So what we're saying is this divorce should be over in 6 months.
It should be over very fast. I mean, there's nothing to really deal with. There's no property, no kids, nothing. Yeah. Even animals. And by the way, animals, an issue in California.
All the animals are spelled out in the prenup?
Accounted for, yeah. No, not the prenup, but I don't think there's an issue. But in California, there are other states, but in California now, there's a new law that says animals are not considered, we use the word chattel in the law, it's property. That in the sense that you could have a situation where a judge has to determine who gets the dog, and what the judge can do is they can look at, okay, it's not just who paid for the dog, but who cares for the dog? Who does the dog like more? So that becomes a thing now in California.
How does the judge determine that?
You put the dog in the courtroom. We did it on People's Court, and you see who the dog goes to.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, you could do that.
That is not...
I swear to God, we've done that in People's Court.
Well, that doesn't make it... Oh, all right, fine.
Well, that doesn't make it not true.
Fair enough.
Hello, Irving Cordova, San Luis Obispo, California. I don't think anybody's too surprised that their marriage lasted only a year because, Miley's behavior has, for the last 10 years has been kind of crazy. She's kind of been out there and he's more low key and they're on and off for a reason. And I think it's just time for him to just find a girl that, treat him right and be everything he wants and, for her to live her own life.
Yeah, it clearly wasn't working out, so they both got
we put this in the post that we're told from people connected to him that she had even reached out recently and said, well, maybe we can make this thing work, and his friends were saying, move on.
No, it had already gotten ugly.
I think so,
I don't know if you...